In today's world, everyone seems to fit into some kind of category. Alpha, beta, extrovert, introvert, you hear those words all the time. But then there's the Sigma male. He doesn't follow the rules of society. He doesn't try to lead anyone, but he's not following either. He's that guy in the back of the room, quiet, calm, thinking his own thoughts. He's not part of the group, but people still notice him. He doesn't ask for attention. He doesn't want it. But somehow he gets it anyway. Sigma males are independent. They live by their own rules. They don't need validation from a crowd. They don't chase approval, and they don't try to impress anyone. That sounds like a good thing, right? Someone who minds his own business and does his own thing. But the truth is, not everybody likes that. In fact, there are people out there who secretly hate Sigma males. And sometimes they don't even realize it. The Sigma male personality rubs certain people the wrong way. It makes them feel uncomfortable, insecure, or even angry. Why? Because a Sigma male doesn't play the social game. He doesn't try to climb the ladder, be the boss, or follow the leader. He just walks his own path. That can be inspiring to some, but to others it feels like a challenge. It feels like a threat. This video will explore 6 kinds of people who often dislike or even hate Sigma males. These people don't always come out and say it. Sometimes their dislike is hidden. Sometimes it shows up as criticism, sarcasm, or passive-aggressive behavior. But if you look closely, you'll see the signs. Maybe it's because the Sigma male reminds them of something they're not. Or maybe it's because he breaks the unspoken rules they live by. Whatever the reason, their dislike runs deep. And if you're a Sigma male, or even just someone who likes your independence, you've probably run into a few of these people before. We're going to break it down. We'll look at each type of person, why they dislike Sigma males, and what it says about them. These aren't just opinions pulled from thin air. They're based on behavior, psychology, and social patterns that show up again and again. So, if you've ever wondered why certain people seem to have a problem with the quiet, independent type, keep watching. You might recognize some of these types in your own life. And who knows, you might even understand yourself a little better by the end. Number 1. The traditional alpha types. There's one type of person who often has a big problem with Sigma males, the traditional alpha. These are the loud, dominant, take-charge types who believe in being the leader of the pack. They're competitive, aggressive, and always trying to show their strength. In their minds, there's a clear ladder. They want to be on top, and they expect others to either challenge them or fall in line. That's the game they know. That's the world they live in. Now here comes the Sigma male. He doesn't care about the ladder. He's not trying to be the boss, and he's not trying to follow anyone either. He's just doing his thing. He's focused on his own goals, his own thoughts, and his own path. He doesn't play the same game. And that's exactly what drives the alpha types crazy. The alpha male needs a challenge. He needs someone to go head-to-head with. He feeds off of competition. So when he meets someone who doesn't respond to that energy, it's confusing. It feels like rejection. The Sigma male doesn't challenge him, but he also doesn't submit. He doesn't care about being better. He just doesn't care at all. And that can feel like a slap in the face to someone who lives for status and control. It gets worse when other people notice the Sigma too. Because even without trying, the Sigma gets respect. He walks into a room and people feel something. Maybe it's mystery. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's calm. But it's something that pulls people in. And when the alpha sees that, it hits a nerve. He's used to being the center of attention. But now there's someone getting noticed who didn't even ask for it. That's a threat. The alpha might not say he hates the sigma. He might act like he doesn't care. But his actions speak louder. He might try to compete with him, make fun of him, or dismiss him as weak or weird. But deep down, it's not really about strength. It's about control. And the sigma male can't be controlled. The alpha also struggles because he can't read the sigma. Alphas are used to sizing people up, figuring out if they're a threat or a follower. But the sigma doesn't give off clear signals. He's quiet. He's private. He's unpredictable. And that makes him hard to understand. People often fear what they don't understand. Some alphas even feel jealous. They might not admit it, but they can see the freedom that comes with being a sigma. No need to impress. No pressure to perform. Just a simple, solid sense of self. That kind of independence is rare. And to someone who always needs a crowd, it can look like a kind of power they don't have. So the next time you see someone with alpha energy trying to mock or challenge a quieter, more private guy, pay attention. It might not be about strength. It might be about something deeper, fear, confusion, or envy. The traditional alpha may act like he's on top of the world. But when the sigma shows up, something shifts. And not everyone knows how to handle that shift. Number 2. The social butterflies. Another kind of person who often dislikes sigma males is the social butterfly. These are the people who thrive in group settings. They're always talking, always connecting, always planning the next gathering. They love people and they love being around them. For them, attention is energy. Being liked is important. Social approval matters a lot. Now picture what happens when a sigma male walks into that world. He doesn't make small talk. He doesn't laugh just to fit in. He doesn't chase anyone's attention. He might even skip the party entirely. To the social butterfly, that's confusing. And honestly, it can feel a little insulting. Social people often take silence personally. When someone doesn't engage, they think, "What's wrong with me?" or "Why is he acting stuck up?" But the truth is, the sigma male isn't judging them. He's just not interested in the noise. He values his space, his time, and his energy. He chooses his interactions carefully. That's not a personal attack, it's just his nature. But not everyone sees it that way. The social butterfly might start to gossip. They might say the sigma is antisocial or rude. They might roll their eyes when he doesn't join in. They don't understand that he's not being cold, he's just being himself. The real problem is that sigma males challenge the idea that you need to be liked to matter. Social people often build their identity around connection. They get confidence from being popular, being invited, being noticed. So when someone comes along who doesn't seem to care about any of that, it shakes their foundation. It makes them question things. They also don't like how others sometimes admire the sigma. The mystery, the independence, it can be attractive. People want to know what he's thinking. And that can steal the spotlight away from the social butterfly. Suddenly, someone who isn't even trying is getting attention. That hurts. Social people might also feel rejected. They see someone keeping to himself and assume he thinks he's better. But the sigma isn't looking down on anyone. He's just focused on his own path. The rejection is imagined, but the feelings are real. That's why the dislike can build quietly over time. There's also a power struggle here. Social butterflies often use connection as a form of influence. They get people on their side, build circles, and keep things flowing. The sigma doesn't play that game. He doesn't need a crowd to feel secure. That breaks the usual rules. And people who live by those rules don't always react well to someone who ignores them. In the end, the social butterfly and the Sigma male are just wired differently. One needs people to feel alive. The other needs space to feel free. But when the two cross paths, it can create tension. Not because one is better than the other, but because one reminds the other that there's another way to live, and that can be hard to accept. Number 3. The insecure betas. Some people dislike Sigma males not because they feel challenged, but because they feel small around them. This is especially true for the insecure beta types. These are individuals who live with a quiet fear of being overlooked, unimportant, or weak. They follow the crowd, try not to make waves, and often avoid confrontation. They look to others for direction, approval, and leadership. But when they meet a Sigma male, it makes them uncomfortable for reasons they don't always understand. The Sigma male doesn't ask for attention. He doesn't need anyone's help to make decisions. He knows who he is and doesn't try to prove it to anyone. That kind of quiet confidence is hard for insecure people to process. It's not loud. It's not arrogant. But it's strong. And that strength feels threatening, not in a physical way, but in a personal way. Beta types usually compare themselves to others. They look for someone to follow or someone to compete against. They might admire leaders but also feel jealous of them. The Sigma doesn't fall into either category. He's not trying to be above anyone, but he doesn't want to be below them either. That puts him outside the system that insecure betas depend on. Here's the real reason they often dislike Sigmas. The Sigma male exposes their weakness just by existing. He shows that you can live without approval. You can move through life on your own terms. That's something an insecure person hasn't learned yet. Instead of inspiring them, it reminds them of everything they lack. And that leads to quiet resentment. They might not express it openly. They might act friendly or polite. But deep down, they judge the Sigma. They might call him arrogant or weird, or trying too hard to be different. In reality, he's not trying at all. He's just different, and that makes them feel small. Another problem is the rise of Sigma content online. Some of it is honest, but some of it is wrapped in toxic messaging, pushing grindset culture, cold behavior, or superiority over others. Insecure people might take that personally. They see Sigma males as cold or heartless, even when that's not the case. They project their own doubts and failures onto the Sigma label and reject it out of fear. Beta types also get annoyed when Sigma males seem to win without playing. The insecure person might be trying hard, working long hours, chasing approval, following trends, just to feel good enough. But then they see someone who isn't trying at all and still getting respect. That stings. It challenges their entire way of thinking. If someone can be respected without chasing it, what does that say about everything they've been doing? There's one more factor: identity. Insecure betas often want a label that makes them feel safe. They want a box to fit in, a rule to follow, a guide to live by. Sigma males don't live by rules, and they don't need labels. That kind of freedom looks scary to someone who still depends on structure. And fear often turns into hate, even if it stays quiet. So when an insecure beta meets a Sigma, they don't always react with open hostility. But their dislike can show up in sarcasm, fake compliments, or gossip. They might try to downplay the Sigma's success or personality just to make themselves feel better. It's not about the Sigma doing anything wrong. It's about the insecure beta not knowing who they are without others telling them. Number 4. The anti-misogyny watchdogs. There's a growing group of people who push back against harmful stereotypes and toxic behavior, especially in the world of masculinity. These are the anti-misogyny watchdogs. They watch trends online, call out bad behavior, and challenge content that promotes outdated or dangerous ideas about gender. Their mission is to protect fairness, respect, and equality. But sometimes they direct their frustration at Sigma males, even when it doesn't always fit. Why? Because the Sigma male label has been linked to parts of the internet that promote toxic masculinity. Some Sigma influencers push ideas like cutting off emotions, ignoring women, or dominating others through cold behavior. Even though this isn't true for every Sigma male, the label has been used in ways that set off alarms. The watchdogs see this and go on alert. They start to see every Sigma male as part of the problem. They see quiet independence as emotional coldness. They see strength as arrogance. They see mystery as manipulation. Even if the Sigma male isn't doing anything wrong, they assume he's hiding something, or worse, acting with bad intentions. This happens a lot online. Videos and blogs talk about being above women, not caring what people think, or cutting off all weakness. That kind of messaging often gets called out by anti-misogyny voices. And since it's attached to the Sigma brand, even regular Sigma males get caught in the backlash. The watchdogs are trying to stop real problems, abuse, control, disrespect. But sometimes their radar picks up signals that aren't actually threats. A man who wants to be left alone, who values freedom, and who doesn't chase romantic attention isn't always being disrespectful. Sometimes he just wants space. But in the eyes of the watchdogs, that space can look like rejection. And rejection can look like danger. There's also a worry that Sigma culture can attract young men who feel lost. Some watchdogs believe Sigma talk can turn into a gateway, leading guys from independence into more extreme mindsets, like incel beliefs or red pill ideology. Again, this isn't always true, but it's a concern. And because of that, they keep a close eye on anything tied to the Sigma label. This creates tension. Sigma males who don't even follow the toxic crowd still get judged. They get lumped into a group they don't belong to. And that leads to criticism, mistrust, and sometimes open dislike. The truth is, not all Sigma males are part of the problem. Many just want to live quietly, work hard, and avoid drama. But the label has baggage. And that baggage brings heat from people who are trying to protect others. In the end, both sides want freedom and respect, but they define those things in very different ways. So the anti-misogyny watchdogs often dislike Sigma males not because of who they are, but because of what the label has come to represent in some corners of the internet. It's guilt by association. And that's a tough thing to change. Number 5. The skeptical realists. Some people just don't like labels. They don't care about personality types, zodiac signs, or online trends. They believe in facts, results, and common sense. These are the skeptical realists. And when they hear someone call themselves a Sigma male, their first reaction is often one word: seriously? To them, the Sigma male idea sounds like just another internet buzzword. They see it as fake science, a way for people to feel special without doing anything special. In their view, you're either a confident person or you're not. You don't need a cool label to prove it. That's why these people often dislike Sigma males, or at least the ones who use the term openly. They see it as self-promotion. Like someone's trying to make being alone sound like a superpower. And to them, that just sounds like marketing. Realists also question the need for all these personality boxes. Alpha, Beta, Delta, Omega, Sigma. Why so many names? Why not just be a person? They think it's all made up. They believe these labels oversimplify complex people and turn real life into a cartoon. And there's another layer. The Sigma male label often comes with certain traits. Quiet. mysterious, independent, strong. In the eyes of the realist, these traits don't need a title. They should speak for themselves. So when someone says, "I'm a Sigma," it can sound like they're trying too hard to stand out. This skepticism turns into dislike when Sigma talk gets too serious. Some people build their identity around the label. They use it to explain everything they do, or worse, everything they don't do. Realists see this as lazy thinking. Instead of working on themselves, they think some people just slap on a label and call it a personality. They also think it can be dangerous. Not violent, but misleading. If someone believes they don't need people, don't need help, or don't need to grow because they're a Sigma, that can lead to isolation or arrogance. Realists value balance. Independence is fine, but so is connection. They think the Sigma label tips too far in one direction. This group also hates trend followers. And to them, the Sigma idea looks like a trend. It blew up online, turned into memes, and then became an identity. That's all they need to roll their eyes. They don't care how true or false it is. If it's popular on the internet, they're already done with it. So while the realist might not hate Sigma males as people, they strongly dislike the concept. They see it as childish, fake, or unnecessary. And they often treat Sigma types with a mix of sarcasm and doubt. To them, actions speak louder than words. So if someone says they're a Sigma, the realist says, "Show me," and if they don't, they stop listening. Number 6. The satirists and memers. There's another group that doesn't hate Sigma males in a serious way, but they still target them constantly, the satirists and memers. These are the people who live on the internet and love to make jokes, roast trends, and turn serious ideas into viral memes. If it becomes a trend, they'll mock it. And the Sigma male identity has become one of their favorite targets. Why? Because the idea of a silent, mysterious man who rejects society but still wins at life sounds almost too perfect. It sounds like a character from a movie, like John Wick or Batman. And when real people online start saying they're Sigma males, the memers go wild. They treat it like cosplay for dudes with Wi-Fi. They post fake quotes like, "He once ignored a girl and became a billionaire," or "He doesn't talk because words fear him." These aren't meant to be taken seriously. They're making fun of the idea that someone can be above it all while still being loved by everyone. But behind the laughs, there's a bit of dislike. These creators feel like Sigma culture takes itself too seriously. So they try to knock it down by making it funny. And anyone who actually believes in the Sigma label becomes part of the joke. The memers don't hate Sigma males as people. What they hate is when a trend becomes too proud, too self-important, or too cringe. And when that happens, the memes come fast. So what's the real takeaway from all this? The Sigma male is a symbol of independence, self-control, and quiet strength. But that very image can trigger people in different ways. Some feel threatened, others feel confused, and some just think it's nonsense. Whether it's the alpha who feels challenged, the social butterfly who feels ignored, or the realist who sees it as fake psychology, each one reacts because the Sigma doesn't fit the mold. This doesn't mean Sigma males are better or worse than anyone else. It just means they live differently. And in a world where most people follow social rules, someone who doesn't will always attract attention, good or bad. If you see yourself in the Sigma role, now you know why certain people act strange around you. It's not always about what you did. Sometimes it's about what you represent. And if you know someone like this, someone quiet, calm and independent, maybe now you understand them a little better. Drop a comment if you've ever dealt with any of these people, or if you've been misunderstood just for doing your own thing. Thanks for watching.